Hey, what's up? This is Matt Dietz, and this is Agency Launch. This is a show where I tell you everything I've learned about running an insurance agency throughout a 17-year career. I will teach you stuff on staffing and sales and marketing systems and retention. I have an agency with 4,300 policies right now, and I only staff it with 2 people, and we grow every year. So I want to teach you my secrets on how I have been able to achieve that. So I tell you things that I've learned, and then I continue to learn. Okay, check it out. I started a texting community. It's not a group chat, okay? So I text out things every week, like tips and tricks and advice and resources and discounts to you. If you reply, it only comes directly to me. So you will have access to me. You can ask me questions. I sometimes will say, hey, what's on your mind? And you can shoot me a question. I send out video answers all the time. So I have a lot of fun in there, and I really enjoy connecting with you. So 208-213-8809. Get in my community. All right, so today I wanted to talk about employees. I was working with an agent on a coaching call, and we had a good conversation. He has a employee that is kind of on the fence. She's been with him for 8 months, kind of been underperforming. Talked a little bit about how to, give them one more chance. Ask, have you had the conversation with her yet? Does she know how you feel? Does she know she's underperforming? Does she know what her expectations are? Does she know what numbers she's supposed to be hitting? Does she know that you're not happy with her? Blah, 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 blah. So you got to be able to have these conversations as a supervisor and a business owner. So I coached him through that, and he was awesome. He had the conversation with her and immediately saw some good returns. She was more engaged and did hit her numbers, and so that's good. I asked him this week, this was over the last month or so, I asked him this week, I said, hey, because he just lost another employee, a producer who could not pass his test. Took it multiple times. He gave him one last try, and he failed it for the 6th time. And he said he was relieved. And I said, that's good. That is a good feeling to have. If you don't want to be heartbroken when someone leaves. I've had employees leave, and I've really been upset because you're losing a true asset. But, if you have an employee that leaves or you let go and you're like, you know what? It's just better this way. Obviously, this wasn't working. You got to trust your feelings. You have to trust your reactions. And he said relief was the feeling that came to mind when when this person and him parted ways. And he's like, you know what? This is just better. If this person showed a ton of promise and was, just couldn't pass the test, and that was the only hurdle left to clear, he'd probably still keep trying. Whatever. Some people are horrible at test takers, like this guy, right? But he just wasn't cut out for the job. Like, what if he was getting 3 or 4 leads, really good leads a day, and he was performing admirably in the agency. So that was good. When it came to this other employee who is struggling right now, I asked him, I said, hey, we kind of leaned into this. How do you feel? I was like, do you want her to make it or not? And he kind of paused, and I could tell he was thinking. He said, I don't know. He's like, and he was kind of wishy-washy. And right there, that's telling right there, right? And like, well, he's not dying to keep her, And he's like, I probably wouldn't be heartbroken if it didn't work out. And so we kind of talked about that. So, well, why? He's like, well, sometimes she does some things that get on my nerves and this and that. And so I kind of circled back and I said, look, not every employee is going to be perfect. Okay. And I equated this to like a sports analogy, right? And I was like, look, if your team is winning, Like, everything is forgiven, for the most part, as long as nobody's doing anything unethical or immoral or illegal. Unmoral, right? It's not a word. Immoral or illegal. Winning solves all problems. So if you have somebody, I've had somebody in my agency that I didn't get along with really well. Like, we could work side by side, but we did not engage in, like, we didn't have anything in common, and we just kind of ran in different circles and things like that. And so, but she produced, 25 or more policies per month. So can I put up with someone who, is just, I don't get along with 100? We're not going to be best friends. Yes, I can, as long as there's a baseline level of respect, and there's, she, is contributing the way that I need her to contribute to the agency, and she doesn't, question, the way the agency is run, and she doesn't give me a hard time, and she's respectful and things like that, I'll employ somebody like that. No problem. What I've learned over my time as being an agency owner and an employer for, almost 18 years and having 25 employees is that no employee is perfect. All right. No employee has it all. Okay. They all have their stuff. And are you willing to put up with that stuff if they're a good employee? Okay. And like I spoke about just before this, there have to be some baseline things that are in place, that they respect you, that they do the work, that they do good quality work. They're not scaring clients away. They're kind to your clientele. And if they produce, which is something they have to do in my agency, if all those things line up, and they're not doing anything, illegal or questionable or anything like that, they're not they're not stealing from you or whatever, then they can work here. It's never going to be perfect. And that's something that I've learned, and that's something that I've come to terms with. And it's something that kind of gives me peace when I have an employee and maybe something's happening and maybe we're not jiving or maybe we're not clicking on all cylinders. If all those other things fall into place, it's okay, because it doesn't have to be perfect, and it never is. I've been blessed with my last 3 employees have been someone that I've enjoyed spending time with. I enjoy having them in the office. We get along wonderfully, and they're as close to perfect as I can imagine. Do they have their quirks or things? We all do. I'm sure they look at me and they're like, God, Dietz, if you weren't such a, fill in the blank, then it'd be better. But, we all have our stuff. I have my stuff. You have your stuff, but what are you willing to put up with? So I kind of told him that too. And he's like, well, that's good to know. He's like, can I put up with, let's say she turns it around and she starts producing and she hits her goals, like, 1 month, 2 months, 3, 4, 5, 6 months in a row. Are you going to be able to share space with this person and coexist? And will they help you grow your business? That's what they're there for, So this is the conversation that we had, and it was good. He's like, I never thought of that before. So that was good. The other thing that I asked him, and I've asked other agents this question too, who are kind of, they look out of their office and they look at the employee and they're like, God, I just don't know. I don't know if this is a right fit. I got 2 things that I want you to ask yourself. If you look out and there's an employee there and you just kind of have that feeling in your stomach. All right, there are 2 questions I want you to ask yourself. 1, could you get somebody in there that could do a better job? Period. Let's keep it simple. For the same price, all right, you're paying someone, whatever, $18 an hour. Could I go fishing right now and get someone for $18 an hour that will do a better job? And if that is a hard yes, then what are you doing? Okay, I equate this to Moneyball. Okay, love that movie. All right, and there's a part of that movie where they're questioning whether they should keep this one first baseman, Pena, I remember his name, who's a rookie. He's going to be an all-star. All right, and they want to start Hatteberg, right? Like Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, their character on paper and through their sabermetrics and through all their fancy statistical analysis, fully believe that Hatteberg, if they play Hatteberg in that lineup, they will win more games. But at the moment, this Pena guy is batting really well. He's probably going to be Rookie of the Year. You know, he's doing all these things right. But the numbers that they really care about, the statistics that they really care about, Hatteberg is better at. He's better at getting on base. So Brad Pitt is ready to trade Pena and like go all in with this experiment, right? And Brad Pitt looks at Jonah Hill and he goes, tell me, do we win more games with Hatteberg or with Pena? And Jonah Hill thinks about it, and he's trusting all of his data and all of his analysis, and he goes, it's close. He goes, but theoretically, it's Hatteberg. And Brad Pitt goes, then what are we even talking about? And I love that moment because they're trusting their process. And I equate that to the question that I just asked you. Can you find somebody that's better? And if you can, what are we doing? Right? So I always like that. And the other question that I like to ask is, do you see this employee working for you? And then just pick a period of time in 6 months. And if the answer is in your heart is a hard no, you know, again, what are you doing? Start the search. All right. You're going to pay this person for 6 more months to underperform. So anyway, these are just things that I think about, and I think about sharing with you and with conversations that I have with other agents that I think are fruitful and worth sharing. That's what I'm here for. So I just wanted to share that stuff with you, kind of put some thoughts in your head. And so there you go. I hope I put some thoughts in your head, and I hope that maybe I've encouraged you to maybe make some changes, or, you know, to kind of look in that direction and, you know, continue to refine your agency. This thing is, it's a living, your business is a living, breathing organism, you know, and so you can change. It's up to you. You know, you can change however you want. So there you go. My name is Matt. This is Agency Launch. You can find me all over the place. I am at Dietz Agency on Twitter and Instagram. I'm very active on LinkedIn. Send me a text at 208-213-8809. And also, don't forget Agency Launch. It's my training system to help you find. One of the many things that it does is to help you find really good employees, how to interview them, you know, how to have those conversations, how to, you know, really decrypt an interview so that you know you have the best chance to hire a good person, along with sales and marketing strategies that I've perfected over the years, and also customer service. So go to agencylaunch.net, check it out. Thank you so much for listening, and keep up the good work.